As a Niners fan and a forever optimist, I'm always looking for ways for the Niners to get number 6. And I've done this throughout my whole entire life, despite the Niners never actually winning a Super Bowl during my lifetime. And recently, today, I was scrolling through my pages and I found this article from the Bleacher Report. It says a formula to predict next year's Super Bowl winner. And that gave me a thought. I should start a series about how the Niners will win the Super Bowl. This will be a 3-part series breaking down their offense, defense, and special teams. And I hope to go down deeply into what each one needs to do to accomplish the feat of the Super Bowl. And I'm going to be using this Bleacher Report article as the base because in this article, they gave these guidelines. It said they needed to be an 11th ranked team offense, a 6th ranked team defense, a quarterback who threw for 3,125 yards and 21 touchdowns on 12 interceptions. And they also needed a running back who carried the ball 247 times for 1,067 yards and 6 touchdowns. They went on to list everything else listed on the screen, and it basically gave what a Super Bowl winning team needed. And throughout these videos, I hope to dive deeper into how the Niners can accomplish these goals. So without further ado, welcome to part 1, the air raid, or the offensive side of the ball. The first requirement, according to Bleacher Report, is the team needs at least an 11th ranked team offense and a quarterback who threw for 3,125 yards and 21 touchdowns on 12 interceptions. And as you guys know, San Francisco established itself, especially under Brock Purdy last year, as at least a number 11 offense in the NFL. You can't really name too many other teams with as much talent as San Francisco has on the offensive side of the ball. You have Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and we need to talk about their quarterback, Brock Purdy. And this is where things get a little bit dicey because the Niners don't actually know if Brock Purdy will be ready start of the season, but for today's argument, I'm going to say he will be for several reasons. So far this offseason, Kyle Shanahan's already said Brock Purdy is further along than he expected, and Brock Purdy has been able to throw recently 3 times a week without any setbacks. And right now, he's working with his throwing coach, Will Helwit, who is able to add 5 miles to his ball before the draft coming into the NFL. So I think he's in good hands with his mechanics. He's also has an orthopedic specialist constantly monitoring him and his arm to ensure he has a proper recovery. He has a true team on his side, and the Niners have already come out, said he's the leader of the clubhouse, played like a top 3 pick. And if we're honest, he is, and he did. So that brings us to the first question. If Brock Purdy is a quarterback that's capable of throwing for 3,125 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. The first thing most people will do is go ahead and just look at his stats, divide them, and say, nope, not possible because he didn't do that last year. And that's a pretty simplistic way of looking at it because Brock Purdy first didn't play a full game against the Chiefs. Also, during their games against the Cardinals, Brock Purdy got yanked early. So I want to do a little bit more nuanced if Brock Purdy actually has the capability. So let's speak about the yards first. By doing this, I got an average of 226 yards per game for Brock Purdy. That equates to 3,842 yards per year. I think this is right in the realm of what Brock Purdy can do. I wouldn't even be surprised if he eventually got to that 4,000 mark. He's an extremely capable quarterback in the Niners system. And as he finds himself more and more entrenched into this offense and understands it more deeply, I think his yards total just continues to go up. Now that brings us to the next question, his interceptions and touchdowns, which is even more surprising. During last season, when Brock Purdy took over after Jimmy Garoppolo's injury, he never threw less than 2 touchdowns a game during the regular season. But I'll take off that Cardinals game once again, which equates to 2 touchdowns per game. And throughout the year, that would be a whopping 38 touchdowns from Brock Purdy, which just demonstrates Brock Purdy's ability to lead an efficient offense. Purdy doesn't just throw the ball in the end zone, he also keeps out of harm's way, throwing, if I did the same type of analysis, 10.2 interceptions for the whole entire season. So going back to Bleacher Report's statistics for the quarterback, they need a quarterback who threw for 3,125 yards. Brock Purdy statistically could go anywhere from 4,000 and 21 touchdowns, where Brock Purdy, if you extrapolated, would do 38 first 10 interceptions. So for me, it's obvious that this shows that Brock Purdy is a franchise quarterback despite everyone mentioning his limited arm strength. The fact is, he gets it done and gets it done at a high level. So while Brock Purdy has the potential to be a Super Bowl quarterback, what about everyone else on the offensive side of the ball? Well, we need to examine who is actually catching the passes from Brock Purdy. So Bleacher Report also had some statistics they thought would be helpful in determining a Super Bowl team. They need a number one wide receiver who caught the ball 73 times for 1,012 yards and 5 touchdowns, as well as a number two wide receiver who caught the ball 59 times for 882 yards and 5 touchdowns. The first thing I want to mention is the number one wide receiver of this team is Brandon Aiyuk, not Deebo Samuel. Brandon Aiyuk broke the 1,000-yard mark receiving last year. Deebo Samuel didn't. He had an off year, and during this offseason, he's even said he's failed to live up to the potential he knows he has inside, which is Hall of Fame potential. The Niners don't have one wide receiver who can get 1,000 yards and those accolades. They have two wide receivers, as well as a tight end in George Kittle, who is probably as deadly as both of them. So while it'd be easy to just break down the stats again, I'm not going to do that, because if you look at Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk's stats, they both went over 1,000 yards receiving in their career, and you know George Kittle is capable of that as well. So things are looking good for the Niners' hopes for a Super Bowl on offense, but there's still a major piece missing: the running game. So next is the part that the Shanahans love, and that's a running back who carried the ball 247 times for 1,067 yards and 6 touchdowns. And they want this in one running back. Shanahan's been able to get this out of tons of different running backs if you accumulate their stats, but recently they've been able to get a true bell cow in the back in CMC. And while he's a major addition, I want to take a spot out in this video to thank Bobby Turner for being the best running backs coach across the entire league. He stayed with the Shanahans across his entire time and coached the best running backs, Terrell Davis, and just frankly, I love him as a coach and the way he's able to get the most out of what the Niners give him. But boy, did the Niners give Bobby Turner a lot with Christian McCaffrey. Last year, Christian McCaffrey ran for 1,139 yards and 8 touchdowns. Pretty impressive, and that's even better than what Bleacher Report wants from their running backs. They want a running back who ran for 1,067 yards, and Christian McCaffrey doesn't just have the option of purely running the ball, he's also the deadliest running back in the league coming out of the backfield, which ultimately leads me to believe that Christian McCaffrey is someone that Bleacher Report would say could be a Super Bowl winning running back. So in this video, I went over a ton of different skill positions, but didn't really talk about the offensive line because Bleacher Report didn't mention it as a key factor to winning the Super Bowl. But I believe it is, and I want to just give a brief overview. The offensive line, in my opinion, is plenty strong, and Chris Forrester last year showed that with his development of Aaron Banks as well as Spencer Burford. I feel extremely confident in him and his ability to find and coach up guys. So with that being said, we need to go back to what Bleacher Report said and just make sure the Niners offense is actually capable of winning a Super Bowl like I think it is. First of all, the offense was better than the 11th ranked offense. The quarterback has an ability to throw way more than 3,125 yards and 21 touchdowns on 12 interceptions. Brock Purdy blows that out of the water. Their running back also is way better than the running back who can just carry the ball 1,100 yards. Christian McCaffrey's done 1,400 yards easily in the season. Furthermore, the number 1 and number 2 wide receiver both play like number 1 wide receivers and accomplish the goal of 73 receptions, 1,000 yards, and 5 touchdowns for a number 1 wide receiver. For all these points, I truly believe that the Niners have a great chance of winning the Super Bowl, and this is why they are always in the mix. So this is just part 1 of a possible 3-part series where I break down each unit on San Francisco, their offense, defense, and special teams, and see if they have the capability of actually winning a Super Bowl. If this is something that you guys actually enjoy, it would mean a ton if you liked, subscribed, and commented down below that you enjoyed this, so I know that all this effort that I put into this video doesn't go to waste. It's a lot more effort than I put in most videos, so I hope you guys enjoy. Anyways, thanks you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.